Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Ghost of Saltmarsh. My name is Guy, I'm from the YouTube channel How to Be a Great GM, and if you are here to watch the live playthrough, you are half an hour early. I appreciate you being here, but yes, you are early. So, what are we going to be doing for the next half hour? I'm going to be taking you through my process as the game master of the show, how I took the Ghost of Saltmarsh adventure book and have translated it into the game that my players will be running through. So that is what you can expect to see. So it does contain spoilers. It contains spoilers. So if you just want to watch the show, if you just want to go on the adventure, I'll see you in half an hour. If you want to see behind the scenes, however, well, let's get right into it. So last week was our first episode where our characters were kind of getting together. They were sort of learning about one another to a very small degree. I didn't really give them very much time. We launched straight into a major nautical battle where, yes, it was chaos and mayhem, and that was the intention. If we have a look at the plan, which will come up on the screen shortly. The plan was has been outlined. We set this up a couple weeks ago. There's the plan behind me. You can see getting stuff, the first phase. There's 4 phases that I like to work through when I'm planning an adventure series, and the Ghost of Saltmarsh is written in exactly the same style. There are 4 things: getting stuff, building stuff, testing stuff, and realizing the goal. So we're in the getting stuff phase where the characters are all busy getting to know what's going on. They're busy getting all of the components necessary, all of the information necessary in order for them to figure out what the actual plot is. Although if they haven't caught on by now, there's something wrong. We'll move into building stuff a little bit later on, then testing stuff and realizing goals. So within the getting stuff, we have 4 missions that I had planned out, although that is going to change. I can tell you that already. Our very first adventure was supposed to be a sea battle, where we introduced aquatic races, the Sahaugen, the Sahugan, the Sahagin, the however you want to pronounce them. We call them Sahaugen here. That's how we pronounce them. So, yes, sea battle, yes. Aquatic races, yes. Sahaugen, rumors of a lich, possibly. Saltmarsh, no. So the crew did not get to Saltmarsh. So when I look back at my plan, and this is why I like to have a plan. Now, bear in mind that I have not developed the adventures beyond the adventure that I am running next. So I have developed this week's adventure, but I have not gone beyond that because things are going to change. This, however, is my giant plan. I know that by realizing goal, which is the climax, the defeat of the lich, the major a naval battle with sea battles and ship battles and all of the like, when I get there, or I have to get there by that specific time frame, because I only have 11 episodes left. We're only doing a 12 episode run. So, what has changed? Well, we didn't get to Saltmarsh last week. I was pushing for us to get there, but then there was all kinds of shenanigans from the players. As there always is. It's not unexpected. So, we need to do a little bit of a reshuffle. The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, which is the first official adventure that forms the basis of the entire book, The Adventures of Saltmarsh, or at least Saltmarsh, the Ghost of Saltmarsh book, I should say, that I was supposed to get into in this session. I am skeptical that it will happen. I will try to make it happen, and there are definitely enough seeds that will hopefully get the players there. However, they might not get there. The reason being, they are now going to be arriving in Saltmarsh. Now, one of the big things that I need to look at here is I've got very strong role players. I've got a lot of people who are really strong on role playing. And of course, the first thing that they did was, as we were arriving in Saltmarsh, they're like, okay, well, my backstory is this, because again, in the campaign book, there are several new backgrounds that players can choose that are specifically focused around Saltmarsh as a city. There's connections to various groups and things. My players were like, well, I'm connected to this person, I'm connected to this person, I'm connected to this person. As a game master, what that automatically does is it says to me, okay, the moment they land at Saltmarsh, they're going to split up. We're going to have a 5-way split or a 4-way split or a 3-way split. Nonetheless, it is going to be splitting up that happens, which is absolutely fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we're going to let that happen, but it does mean that everything is going to slow down. So I only have 2 hours each session, so I've got to work out what I can do within those 2 hours. So that means if Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh, which was supposed to be today's episode, if that has to fall away, or at least if it has to be reduced, that's okay. I'm still on track. I also have, if you look at number 4, Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, which would be the wrap-up, establish the Sahagin involvement and the Black Tide. I could move number 4 into the position of number 2, so that I have still got 2 sessions for Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh, because it is a fun little adventure, but I have not yet been derailed from my master plot. Now, does this constitute railroading, where I've got my plan and this is what I'm going to be doing? No, it doesn't. The players have complete agency. If they wanted to, they could take their highly damaged ship, and yes, I damaged it for that very specific reason, was to force them to stay in Saltmarsh long enough to go through the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. I damaged their ship in the battle. If you noticed last week, there was no real combat. The only combat roll that I can recall is where Jaggerjaw threw Pinky the octopus at the back of Flick and missed. Otherwise, there was no actual combat. It was all just set up and is that railroading? Yes, it was. And I think it's sometimes important for us to realize that the players are here for an adventure. We're here for an adventure. As the game master or as the dungeon master, we're here to run an adventure. So we need to get them into that space without relying on them going, okay, my character must go along with it. So I've set up that their ship is damaged and needs to go in for repair, so they have to go to Saltmarsh, being the nearest possible town that they can get to. It's going to take a couple of weeks to repair their ship, and that gives our characters the opportunity to wander around town. However, I am not going to simply sit back and let the players wander around town for hours and hours and hours on end. It's a great role-playing opportunity, absolutely. They can explore all kinds of things, and they can meet all of the amazing people of Saltmarsh. Now, bearing in mind, I have adjusted Saltmarsh a little bit to fit more with this campaign. Some of the names have changed around a little bit. I've made Saltmarsh a much more diversified town in terms of the races that are present there. Because if we look at the idea behind the plot behind me, let me get my hand in there, so that plot there, the idea here is part of the Saltmarsh adventure book is that there are these alliances and there's these things that are happening in the background. I've decided to move those to the foreground because I think that that is an interesting angle to take on the Saltmarsh space, and I think the players are more than capable of doing it. I think it also fits their style more rather than, say, a more combat-focused type of adventure. As a result, I put in more races into the town so that there are more connections for the players to get to the different races if they need to. There are now gnomes, there are dwarves, they're no longer just running a mining concession, now it's the Dwarvish ambassador, so there are lots of different links and things. Once I realized that my players are going to split up, or at least, at the very least, each one of them is going to want their own time to shine. This is the important thing, is that they are going to want their own time to shine, and absolutely, why not? That makes absolutely perfect sense. So I'm going to give each one of them a microtransaction, if you like, a small amount of role-playing space, as well as several clues and hints and things which individually might not mean very much, but collectively it's going to bring the party together. So part of my planning for this week was simply going through saying, all right, so I got a message from Michael, who's playing Jaggerjaw, and he was asking if he could go and get wood for the ship. He fixes the ship. That's his job. He's the bosun. His character fixes the ship. It's a logical step. It's a logical progression. It shows that he, as the player, is embracing what his character's occupation is to fix the ship. I don't want to spend 5 or 6 sessions with Jaggerjaw stuck on the ship fixing it. Yeah, that could be interesting. Or not. Probably not. Definitely not. Absolutely not. Definitely not interesting. So I'm going to take that burden away from him as fast as I can, and I'm going to turn that entire opportunity where he's going to go and look for fine woods and things. There is a carpenter's guild in Saltmarsh. He's going to go there and he's going to learn some stuff which I think is going to, well, it's going to certainly motivate him not to stay on the ship. It's going to give him some pieces of information, so when the party does eventually get back together again, one way or another, he can then share that and say, okay, well, this is what I found out, so he's contributing to the conversation. I think as the Dungeon Master, it is important for us to have these kinds of thoughts in our heads as we're going into the game, even if the players arrive and just start killing everybody. It's no loss to me to have spent a few, probably I would say an hour or so, whilst walking somewhere or in the shower, wherever your ideas come up from, just going, okay, well, that's what I can do with him. That's what I can do with her. That's what I can do there. So I was busy looking at the various characters. Captain Salt has got a very strong backstory linked to Saltmarsh, so we're going to be exploring that. It does tie them into Gellin Primewater, who's one of the principal characters of Saltmarsh. So that tie-in is great. It gives me an opportunity to create potential conflict, as well as to place a sense of time urgency upon the party to act. I think that is another thing that we need to be constantly aware of as Dungeon Masters, is that we can't just let our players wander free. They need to have a certain time constraint, a certain time pressure to act. If they wander free, again, it's not a problem. Let them wander free, but let them know that they have 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks in which to wander free before they have to move on. If you don't give them a time frame, well, to be perfectly honest with you, they're going to wander forever, and then everyone's going to sit around the table wondering what the hell's going on, because no one's going to know. So I like to give them a time frame, so I'm going to give him a time frame. Captain Salt's got a time frame. Flick has already inserted himself into a disastrous situation, so there is that to bear in mind. I'm going to resolve that, and the way that I'm going to resolve that is I'm going to start to introduce the idea of good NPC, bad NPC. Now, Saltmarsh is full of good and bad NPCs. Mostly bad. Some of them are good. Most of them are neutral in terms of what they want and what they're looking for, which is absolutely fine. Players need to be told, or at least need to be encouraged, that your NPCs are either good or bad or neutral and just looking out for themselves. Captain Salt is going to come across a whole bunch of NPCs that are pretty good in a broad sense of the word. He's going to know exactly who are the evil ones. It's a clear-cut case. Jaggedjaw is going into a situation where he thinks he has a good relationship with the NPC. He's going to discover there's more to that relationship, of course. Just because the players have said, can I go and do X, Y, and Z, doesn't mean that I'm just going to let them go and do X, Y, and Z. They're going to do X, Y, Z and discover that Q is also there, as well as R, S, and T. Now, Flick is going to have this whole link. Now, I want him to see that there is a good side and there is a bad side to this human Royal Navy, which they encountered in the first episode. Why do I want to do that? Because by making Flick aware that, oh, there are good ones and there's bad ones, there's evil ones, all of that kind of stuff, it creates an interesting space in the player's head where hopefully they're not prejudging my NPCs. They're not assuming that all of my NPCs are evil or that all my NPCs are pushovers. They're seeing that the world is filled with dynamic people. It's a conscious decision to do it, and I'm setting it up very specifically so that we see that and Flick sees that. What it's doing is I'm looking ahead going, okay, I remember I have episode 12 or 11 or 10 on the plot plan. In that plot adventure outline, I need to introduce the fact that there is an alliance happening. That means that they can't just take for granted that the humans are going to work with them. Remember, the crew, only one of the 5 of them is human. The rest are different races, so the humans need to be brought into this alliance just as much as everybody else. It's just an assumption that, well, the humans are naturally involved because it's Saltmarsh, which is a human town. Anyway, the way that I'm going to be doing that, I'm going to give you some insight into this one because it's going to happen very early on in the show. As a matter of fact, it's going to be the opening of the show. The way that that's going to be happening is we're going to see that Flick is presented with a moral dilemma and an opportunity to make money. The party doesn't have a lot of cash, and docking fees are quite pricey. I'm just busy looking now here. Ship maintenance cost. The ship is that long. It's costing them 50 gold per month to maintain the ship. Forget the repair costs, and it's 4 gold a day docking fees. So there are some costs that they're going to have to cover if they want their crew to remain happy, what remains of their crew as well. I'm just looking at my notes up there. Crew is 150 gold drinks, 10 gold ammunitions, another gold on top of that. So they're looking at a pretty hefty bill that they're going to have to cover. So we have to give them cash somehow, otherwise it is going to preoccupy their minds. Again, it's not a problem. We want them to be involved in a whole bunch of things. So that's where Flick is going to be involved. As to what is going to happen to him on land, he is one of the free agents where I have not predetermined something yet, simply because Flick's character is going to go on a different journey later on. We're going to see a lot more of him later on, and he's had quite a lot of screen time already in the first episode. As for Lahuna, our merfolk, a mermaid, I suppose you could say, she's going to be introduced to the principal plot, and she's going to be one of the anchors that hopefully will take us into the sinister secret of Saltmarsh. One of the big things within the Ghosts of Saltmarsh book is how to get the players invested into going up to the mansion to discover the sinister secret of Saltmarsh, I suppose you could say. One of the ways that I've looked at it is like, well, the party's under a lot of time pressure. They've arrived in Saltmarsh under a huge amount of pressure. They've all got these massive things that are busy going to be happening to them. How do I get them to now say, whoa, we're putting all of that aside and we're going to go now and explore our this Saltmarsh secret thing? So I've linked it to various things. Now, I specifically had that cinematic moment. You might want to call it a railroad moment, whatever you want to call it. In writing, it would be called a foreshadowing moment. But it was that moment in episode 1 where the clouds, the fog parted for just enough time for the player characters to be able to see the evil lich riding on top of the giant undead Kraken. Why did I do that? Because we're now going to see that coming into the town of Saltmarsh. How did I know to do that, or why did I do that? Well, because I had my plot outline where I could say, okay, I need to get them to the sinister secrets of Saltmarsh. How am I going to do that? So you're going to see a little bit of how I did that in terms of, hopefully it works. This is the plan. I'm telling you my plan beforehand. That's the whole idea of the show, is that's what is planned. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. We will have to see. So hopefully it happens. What they're going to do is they're going to discover a statue. And the statue is going to link them to another statue, which we've put into the garden at the mansion where the first adventure, Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh, takes place. However, because of the backstories that the players have chosen, they may get to the Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh through other routes. They might end up being... Here's a spoiler, so more than just for this game. They might end up being the smugglers that are actually using the mansion as cover. That, however, I don't think is going to happen necessarily, but it might. Who knows what the player's going to do. So today's episode, my goal is very specific. I need the players to get to the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh adventure. Before they get there, though, and let's just go back to the plot. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so before they get there, though, I need to make sure that I have put down enough routes for the rest of the plot moving forward, so that if Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh runs to 2 episodes, to 2 sessions, which it might very well do so, or it could go to 1. I won't let it go to 3. If it goes to 3, it's like, oh, this is so much time spent. Now, I know this is rushing things, but that's because I've got a lot to fit into. Is this how you should run your games when you are running your own private games? I think so. When I run my own games and I don't have a time pressure on myself as the dungeon master as well as on my players, the games tend to ramble and go off in all kinds of different directions and things. But when I've set myself a specific goal and a specific time frame, it makes running the game almost... Well, it adds an extra challenge level to the whole thing where you're going, okay, I have to now compact this. I now have to get this to fit into 2 sessions or 3 sessions rather than just going, well, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. I think that makes for much more compelling storytelling, and it makes adventure feel as if it is this amazing drive through an experience. The players are involved, the characters are involved, you as the dungeon master are involved. Everything is now push, pressure. And at the end of it, you come out and you go, whoa, roller coaster. That was amazing. Rather than, that was a golf cart drive through a golf course and a bit of city. You might have had more time to explore, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was it was an interesting experience. So mixing it up is important. Last session we had lots of danger. There was lots of physical stuff that was happening to the crew. They were rolling around, they were jumping around, that sort of thing. We're not going to be doing that this week. This week is talky. So lots of talking going on. Do I have a plan if they talk too much? Because I think you always should have a plan if I talk too much. The answer is an emphatic yes. I've got two forces which are now going to be meeting for the first time in Saltmarsh. The Human Royal Navy, our characters are going to discover, have just arrived in Saltmarsh. They're attached to their ship at the moment. They're going to discover why they're there, and it is to reform Saltmarsh. Now, Gellin Primewater plus all of the loyalists, not the loyalists, the traditionalists, I should say. It's a group that's been established within Ghosts of Saltmarsh adventure book. The traditionalists are not going to be happy about that, and one of the principal leaders of the traditionalists is definitely not going to be happy with that. Gellin Primewater is going to be very unhappy about that. So there's these two factions which are being set up to go head to head as well. Within the city itself, well, within the city of Saltmarsh itself. Now, I have redrawn the city of Saltmarsh, as I mentioned before last time. Let me see if I can go there. Let's just go back to the full screen, please. Sorry. I didn't make the cards. I was supposed to make cards. Anyway, that's on me. I'm going to close that because we don't have to come back there, hopefully. Right, so now we can go back here. There we go. Right, so I have remade the town of Saltmarsh, the harbour town of Saltmarsh, as you can see here behind me. Why did I remake it? First question. I remade it because I felt that the map that was already supplied in the book, it was a brilliant map. You can see that I have copied it almost verbatim in terms of layout, in terms of where I put everything. I transcribed this into World Anvil. WorldAnvil.com is where this is sitting because you can add in pins. Now, a lot of these programs allow you to do that. With the adding in of the pins, as the game master, what did it do? Well, instead of having this map, which is stuck in a book, which I print out and then don't really interact with, by recreating the map, I have now walked the streets of Saltmarsh. So I'm a lot more familiar with the layout. I know, oh yes, if you go down Main Street, this is what you'll find on that side and this side and that side. So by recreating the map, one experiences what there is in the city itself. It becomes a lot more real for you as the dungeon master. But also I could then move things around. So I've done these pins in a specific way. Orange pins are government forms of control or establishment. So we've got here the Hool Watch Tower, we've got the City Gate, we've got the Barracks and Jail, we've got the Old Sharkfin Bridge, as well as the Council Hall. So those are all in orange. Everything that's in blue are private are inns and taverns. So we got the Wicker Goat. I moved the snapping line inwards a little bit to a primary area. This is now in the main crossroads area. If you are coming into Saltmarsh, the actual town of Saltmarsh, which was this town here on this outcropping, you would stop at the snapping line first. So I moved that from where it used to be. And then I also moved the empty nest. Empty nest used to be down here in a little bit of a backwater. I moved that up here. You can see my notes I've also added in there. I'm not sure how clear that is on screen. I moved that over here simply because it gives us primary access to the ocean, and you'll see that there's a little island just in front here, which I actually didn't put onto the map. I should have, but it was so small it wouldn't really register much, which has a little lighthouse on it because I felt that that was a necessary addition. Then purple is embassies or individuals who are important. So the Owland House, the Solmore House, the Primewater Mansion, Caladec's Tower is there as well, and then Eliander's house. So I've put that in there, plus some notes and things for myself. Then yellow is commercial, so the markets are there. We've got the leather, Kester Star's leather goods is over there, and the fishmongers, etc., etc. So otherwise I've kept things pretty much the same thing. I just like to have these pins all over the place. As I move over, I can just remind myself of what's going on. All right, how are we doing for time? 5 minutes to go before the show itself actually starts. So I have prepped a lot of interaction for this episode. A lot of hooks are being thrown out. Now, if you know my philosophy around seeding is where you just throw out a whole bunch of potential clues that the party can then follow up on. Do they have to follow up on any of them? No, they don't. But the prospective is there for them to do that. If they do that, I have a lot more to work with. If they don't, that's absolutely fine. I then get to get a sense of where they are going as a player group, because we've had a session 0, so that's absolutely fine, where we established this is kind of how they play, but everyone was new and kind of figuring out who they were. We've had session 1, but in session 1 there wasn't a huge amount of time for role-playing. It was 2 hours of ship under attack, but not under attack, if that makes sense. It was 2 hours of them reacting to absolute chaos and panic. So this is the first adventure session where we have a little bit of breathing room, and of course, as the game master, I'm going to say, yes, breathe as much as you like, but here's a whole bunch of stuff that you can talk with, you can interact with, you can go with. So it's an interesting space to be in. I love these kinds of moments within the adventures, because it is where the players are going, okay, let's interact with this world. So as the dungeon master, it's now a case of, okay, each NPC needs to be individual. I need to make this town feel like it has come alive. How are we going to do that? So there's a lot of pressure here in terms of different NPC voices, and I have been traumatizing the residents of Tokyo as I have wandered the streets talking to myself aloud, going, what about this accent? Can I pull this accent off? Can I do this? Can I do that? When you see dungeon masters who have different accents and who try different things with their voices, it's not natural talent. It is simply practice. So I've practiced a couple voices. I'm like, no, that one doesn't work. I can't sustain that one. I need to watch more films where those people are speaking with that kind of accent. I need to do this. I need to do that. I have got some accents down for some of the characters. For some of the characters, I'm like, oh, it could be that. Oh, it could be that. Oh, it could be that. What will be the deciding factor? The moment they start talking to the PCs. So I'll have all of these different accents in the back of my head. It's like, what does Gellin Primewater sound like? He's a bit of a fop as far as described in the book. He's a dandy, but he's a manipulative dandy. How are we going to do that? I've started to build his mansion. It's not included in the Ghosts of Saltmarsh adventure book, but I've started to build his mansion. And again, I maintain, by building the map yourself rather than taking an existing map, even if you take the existing map and you just remake it, you become a lot more intimate and a lot more familiar with that NPC. So by building his mansion, I'm like, okay, he likes to show off, he likes to do this, he likes to do that, but he's also got this whole slave thing happening in the underground, and this smuggling ring going on, and there's all that kind of stuff happening. So what would be in his mansion? How would he hide that? How would he show off to people? How would he act? And I try to find links and things that make him feel a little bit more real. It also then allows me to kind of be a little bit more inside of his head. And yes, he is only an NPC, but I know that my players are going to be based, in theory, around Saltmarsh for a slightly longer time period than if it was just a random city that we're passing through. So I have the luxury of giving my NPCs a little bit more time. Yes, so that's pretty much where we are. We've got a minute to go before the actual playthrough happens. So you know my plan for today. Let's see if it can be pulled off, and have a look and see how I try to constrain or apply time pressure to players in a situation where there doesn't seem to be as if there is a huge amount of time pressure. Their ship's going to be repaired for the next 12 days. That's an awful lot of downtime. So let's try and put some pressure onto them. And I don't want it to feel as if I'm saying, here's the mission, go on the mission. Because I could do that. Quite easily I could do that. I don't want to do that, though. I want them to discover the missions on their own. So I'm going to be throwing out a whole bunch of stuff so they can choose which one they want to go with. Anyway, until we meet again, which will be in a few minutes, yeah, enjoy the game.
We fought them in the air, on land, and under the waves. But it wasn't enough. Brave folk banded together, united in hope and allied in goal. But it wasn't enough. The black tide brought with it an evil of terrible power. Darkness sank into the hearts of us all. For we knew, as above in the skies we lost, so on land we'd lose. And our only hope was below. But it wasn't enough. Forces unknown to us were at work, and in those dark days it found purchase wherever it touched. For our best wasn't enough. And yet, a single light burns in the dark night, and it might be enough.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's show, The Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Call of the Kraken. It's a pleasure to have you all joining in, and of course it's absolutely wonderful to have all of my players here. I hope that the sound of the waves is not too loud. If it is, let us know in the chat, please. It's just to help set the mood, sound provided by Dungeon Fog Soundscapes. Thank you to for that. And that actually leads me into saying thank you to our sponsors. Our sponsors are Dungeon Fog, that's our map maker of choice. They made all the maps that you see in today's episode. We've got worldanvil.com. World Anvil is keeping all our heroes on track. If you want to learn about each of the characters, head on over to worldanvil.com. Heroes, and mods will be showing the links out shortly. And Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. Rolling 20s and 1s with casual abandon and disregard for the lives of the PCs and the dice rotation. We've had so many bad rolls last week and good rolls this week that it's been chaos and confusion. Let's bring that water down a bit more. How's that? Can you hear it? Can you hear me? We'll get there one day. We'll have a show where we don't have a technical issue.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, let me know if it is better or not. So while that's busy happening, let's introduce the cast and crew. Joining us all the way from Australia at a ridiculous o'clock in the morning is Michael Kesselman. How you doing, Michael?
G'day, guys. Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I'm super excited, super keen to be playing Jaggerjaw back on, well, what is, you know, what's left of the ship? I mean, I'm the shipwright. What have I got to do now? I just got to, like, sort of, you know, like, well, we're floating, I guess.
We're not
But now-
sinking, absolutely.
We're not sinking.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's have a look there. What is that note saying there? It's still too loud? Alright, let's go.
Oh, am I too loud? I mean, I get that a lot.
I'll get there one day. I'll get there. Oh, let's not do it on that screen.
That is it? Oh, it's gone now. Oh, God, I have this. I have
You
this.
scared it off.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
The gypsy lady told me
Whilst
that
that's
I
busy
would die.
happening, again, thoughts and comments on the volume of the audio. I thought I had set this up, but you never know. These things happen. Right, let's go to Jenny. Jenny from Sweden.
Hi.
Jenny.
Hello. I am good, but nervous as usual, and I'll be playing the captain, Victor Salt, who is not in a good mood. But that's permanent, really, so it's fine.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, I'm getting notes here all over the place. I'm too soft. Everyone else is too loud. All those kinds of things. Let's see if that's better. You know, you go through audio pre-checks and they never work. They never work. Anyway, let's see if that's better for you. Mark, how are you doing from the UK?
I'm gonna die. But other than that, I'm doing great.
Doing great. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not going to die. Flick is going to die.
No,
horribly.
sorry. I should preempt that. I am not going to die. My character may die. I'm playing Flick, the little kobold wizard, and he's in a bit of a pickle. But I guess you'll find out what happens to him, and so will I. So yeah.
There we go. Janet, also from the UK, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've had 3 shots of coffee this afternoon, so I'm ready to go. And I'm playing Lahuna, who always acts as if she's had 3 shots of coffee. The mermaid paladin, who's not very good at being either of those things. So this should be fun. My job is crew morale as the first officer of the ship, and we lost a number of crew. So
One that we know of.
I feel like we lost. Oh, we know we lost one.
We lost the War-Torn. The War-Torn is...
We don't know about the second yet.
No.
Yeah, that's true. That's
The
true.
one that was murdered in cold blood.
Oh yeah, I mean he sounds cute, that little seabold, but my god.
Oh yeah. And then from Germany, Mhaire, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I've been looking forward to this the whole week, and yeah, I'm hoping that everything is going to turn out fine, and we don't need a new Seabold. It would be sad. And yeah, let's see how we get our ship fixed up, because I'm playing Indigo Diomedea, and she's a sea elf druid, and she's on board as a healer, as the surgeon, but she's often more concerned with the health of the ship rather than with the health of the crew. She sometimes has to be reminded that, the fleshy things need healing too. So hopefully we're going to get her into dry dock and get her fixed or something like that. And I also have one for Janet or Lahuna. Our ship right is more like a ship wrong.
Look, okay, we are still on track to Saltmarsh with no mast, I will have you know. I think I did a damn good job.
Yeah, let's have a look and see where you are in the world.
You did a job, certainly.
I would like to add that pun was awful.
It was.
Oh no! Let's get to the dying, please.
Yeah, can we just get on with the game now, please, before these puns kill us? As you can see, you are sailing through Bannon's Channel. Everything is wrecked and destroyed. Your primary mast has been ripped free of its socket and is dragging in the front of the ship. Your aft sail is all that you have left, but within the strange fog that has encapsulated the entire of the Azure Sea, the wind is not pushing you fast at all. What is, however, is the single heavy rope that has been attached between your ship and the first-rate ship of the human Royal Navy, this colossal ship 3 times the size of your ship that is currently surging towards Saltmarsh Harbour. When last we were playing, Flick had decided it was better to climb aboard the human ship and loot, I think, because that's what one does. And he had been discovered by a certain individual. Everybody else was on the ship, as they have said, trying desperately to keep it afloat. And that is where we pick up our story. Flick, if you recall, it was that slightly elderly gentleman pointing a rather large sword at your head. He repeats, "What are you doing on my ship?"
Are you, the captain?
The blade gets pushed closer to your head.
Yeah, hi. Yes. Just came on board. Lovely ship. Love what you've done with the place. But, I just wanted to come on board. I'm the, I'm the ship's mage of the Second Chance. And we've just come over, we've shot over a ballista into your ship so we can get back to Saltmarsh properly. Now, we didn't want this to appear as if we were firing on you as, like a battle. Just, we want to go home and get away from the grey thing.
He snarls at you and seems to be raising his saber back when the door to this ruined room that you are in opens up, and this very stately gentleman walks in, looks from the older soldier to you. What's going on here?
Hi.
This
Please don't kill me.
Seabold Admiral was trying to steal from your private quarters. Seems we've got a little stowaway on board.
I was not.
Hush
I am
you.
the ship's mage of the Second Chance. I am here as an ambassador.
Both humans look at you raising their eyebrows. Give me a persuasion check, if you please. You have advantage on the roll because you're telling the truth. Kind of. Sort of. With a stretch of the imagination. Just remember, all of you have one inspiration point that you can use if you so choose. Just remember that. It might be time for that. 13. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
All right. No. The one with the saber says, "Of course he's lying, sir. Or he would say anything to save himself. Second Chance. What sort of name is that for a ship?"
Look,
The elder gentleman looks from you, looks at the ballista bolt that's embedded into the side of his ship with the rope hanging off of it. Looks at his sub-captain or whatever his full title is. Walks over to you, kneels down to get to your height. I am going to rely on the fact that you are telling the truth.
Oh, good.
Your people are not usually found in this particular part of the ocean, unless I'm greatly mistaken.
No.
Yes. You have a ship, you say.
Yep. It's tied to your ship.
Yes. I won't go into why exactly. Nonetheless, we have been in battle, and we do not have the option of making further enemies. I would ask you to return to your vessel and provide any assistance you can to any survivors that you might find in the ocean. If you can rejoin us at Saltmarsh, I'll give you 50 gold per sailor you save.
Would Flick have seen anybody being saved?
No, probably not. You were busy rigging up the ballista and that sort of thing.
Oh, how much again? Sorry, 50 silver?
He smiles, and
I think somebody fell from the sky. That might have been
someone fell
yours.
from the sky. Did you see a Pegasus fall from the sky?
Are they flying horses?
Yes, a Pegasus.
Yes, a flying
me.
horsey.
Did you rescue the rider of the Pegasus?
Yeah, I think so.
Is
Didn't
he
see.
alive?
It was very confusing. A lot going on.
You must tell me quickly. Is he alive?
Would Flick know that?
No.
Yes.
That is really. How many of the Pegasus riders did you manage to retrieve?
Only one flying horsey.
If you return to your vessel, I will give you 100 gold for each Pegasus that you reclaim as well.
Ooh, we
How does that
definitely
sound?
have one of those. I hope.
I have one last question for you, Mr. Seabold.
Flick.
Flick.
You can call me Flick.
There's a sneer from the captain who's still holding his saber. Are you in any way involved in illegal activities in the Azure Sea?
No!
I will take you on your word, Mr. Seabold.
Thank you. No, we are a reputable crew and ship. We do 8 missions and help those in need.
Yes. Return to your ship. Make sure that the riders that you have found are alive and stay that way. Meet us in Saltmarsh and I will pay you accordingly.
Pay me? Oh, great. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. I won't let you down.
And then he
Right.
runs back across the rope.
Hope you don't. As you're skimming across the rope, you hear the slimy one turn back to the Admiral going, "You know he's a pirate, sir. He's just gonna... He's just gonna kill them all. You know, he's gonna hold them to... We should have just cut his head off." As you're busy shimming back along this rope. Captain
And I
Salt,
hit- yeah.
what are you doing whilst this is going on?
I was heading back up onto the deck to sort of oversee a bit and maybe try to attach the rope that we are swinging by in a better place than this sort of stuck mast thing. Like if we can get some people together and actually tie it to the bow or something. I don't know,
All right,
something
you
more
want to get a work
secure.
crew together. Absolutely not a problem. You start to organise this detail. I'm sure Jaggerjaw is there helping you. Is that right, Jaggerjaw?
Yep. That is correct. Jaggerjaw is basically trying to find anyone who's able-bodied to be able to help with it, because obviously the mast being such a big, heavy, monstrous-sized thing impaling the front of the ship, reinforcing it is also going to be a danger. Even the slightest shift can put all that tension from the harpoon straight into the mast and rip her free. So we need to do it slowly, carefully, and without any problems. Looks around for Flick.
No
Right,
sign of
well.
Flick.
All right, we're good. All right.
Right, well, I trust you've got this in hand. Just deal with it and see what you can do about fixing that thing. And I just sort of point to the impaled, warforged person that's still sort of hanging there. Like if
Oi!
we can get him loose
Instant,
and wrapped
get a
up.
hook.
A hook. Look, just get the mast out from his chest and wrap him up.
Captain, he's out at sea. I could walk out there, but, I don't fancy a swim right this second.
No, well, once we've got the rope off the mast and onto the bow, maybe we can haul it in somehow. I just
All right,
don't
Captain.
like us sailing into Saltmarsh with a dead body as a figurehead.
Raising a good point there. Lahuna, what are you doing?
Lahuna has already organized the crew on the deck, sort of boosted morale, which is what she does. I've organized a karaoke party later. We're going to be singing Verily Be It Raining Men. It's going to be lovely.
Verily be it raining man, says one of the crewmen. It's Sam McFinnigan. You can hear him practicing down in the bowels of the ship.
He's terrible, but you know what? That's all we've got. So off we go. And Lahuna is going to go give Indigo a hand where she assumes that she is with all of the stricken sailors down below in the medical deck.
Indigo.
That is to say, the place where we stash the almost dead people.
Yes,
I
where
guess.
are you exactly, Indigo?
I am actually taking care of the humans and other intelligent beings on the deck who have been hurt because Victor seemed very stern when he told me to leave the horse alone. Take care of the bipeds.
I told her to leave the ship alone and take care of the bipeds.
And the horse. I was eyeing the horse because
Yes, no, fair.
So I'm walking from one person lying there to the next, and I'm just doing triage and finding out who needs the most care and where they need to do something immediately, either with medicine or if it's too crass. I'm going to beckon over Lahuna and look at her pointedly.
Yeah, I got my magic hands ready.
Right.
Just point me at him.
Lovely. Combined, I need you both to give me a medicine check, please, as you try and start performing triage upon the stricken sailors. And more are being brought in, unless you're rescinding the order to save lives, Captain. Natural 20. There we go. First roll of the night. Natural 20.
Nice.
Chased up by a 10. Well, 50-50 is not bad. And then dropped down by 1. Yes, Lahuna. Well, you could have helped, but then you got a 9 from that 10. So
I poke the meat people and I'm like, this one seems alive.
ooh, they're warm. They can't possibly be alive.
Somebody
says
pre-cook
the
these.
merfolk. Absolutely. So Indigo, she helps. Luna helps. Morale more than anything else. That you realise very quickly she should not be around medical instruments.
Lahuna's
Yes.
very good if you point her in the right direction and say, help this person. She can lay on hands. She's got divine powers. I mean, there's a certain amount of, oh god, Elise, there's a lot of blood, and then the laying on hands happens, but yeah, she's alright as long as you steer her.
For the time being, I guess I'm steering you towards people who need kind of being distracted from pain or something. I'm just pointing the chatty, happy person at the people that actually need someone talking to them.
I'm also good with the leaky ones.
Oh, good. Just you keep the things growing on you. Keep them away from the blood.
Oh yeah, no, they do like that because it's salty, you know.
Yes, but
A
Victor
little-
does
a little
not
tongue
like
wrapped in my
feeding.
armor.
We are not supposed to eat them. Neither your armor nor the Shakan.
That's true. It's only
So-
a taste, but that's true.
Yeah. Take care that it's not, licking them.
Sure, it's not in good taste, I guess.
And also, it's not very clean.
Flick, would you give me an acrobatics check, please, as you climb across this rope?
Please don't fail.
I'd like to point out at this point that Flick is not actually that great with Dex.
Yet he's the one that scurries and climbs. Well, with a 14, that's not bad at all. You shimmy across it. Perhaps there's a pause as you get halfway where you look into the dark, murky waters, remembering poor old Schnicked as he fell into the briny. And then you carry on, and you arrive back on the ship. What are you doing? You look over, second mate Blah sort of looks at you, because all hands on deck for this. How many
How many live ones do we have in the infirmary that we fished out of the sea?
Oh, at the moment, we've got 8.
8.
Yes,
That's good.
most of the ones we're pulling up, we're only getting up half.
Half? What?
Yeah.
Oh. Right, we'll throw those back.
Yeah, that's kind
Focus
of
on the living ones, right?
Chef did ask if we could maybe restock supplies, but I said no.
With the half sailors.
Have you met our bosun?
Yes, I have, but he's a little busy right now, and I'm not distracting him with bloodied corpses. And dragging these things all over the deck to put them down in the galley are going to leave blood tracks everywhere.
We're of the same mind, Captain. Don't you worry.
Good. What is it, Flick? What?
They're worth money.
What do you mean they're worth money?
Money. Gold. You know, the clinky stuff you guys seem to
Yeah,
love.
I know what money is, Flick.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Sometimes, you know.
How do half sailors that we pull out of the water be worth gold, Flick?
Well, I took the initiative. And...
Oh, God. Yes.
and went over to the other ship on a
Oh.
little adventure just to say hi. Turns out they're very grumpy.
Uh-huh.
One of them nearly killed me. Anyway, don't
Well.
worry, I'm fine. The big guy, the big Admiral Captain
Admiral.
in charge, yes,
Right, yes.
he said that if we rescued anybody, we're good friends, by the way. Didn't take long. He would give us money for any sailors that we rescued.
Well, what did he say about the whole ballista bolt rope situation?
Oh, he's fine with it. Yeah, I convinced him that we were friendly.
Really?
Mhm.
Well, good job.
Thank you. Yes, he was.
All right then. Well, did you get a name?
Horse. We have the horse. Where's the flying horse?
The Pegasus should still be here, right?
Yeah, the
It's over
flying
there.
horse. Oh. It's sort of like a horse when it's not flying, but yeah. Okay, yeah, that's worth lots of money.
All right, good. We need money.
Yes. Can't remember exactly how much.
How much we need or how much they're worth?
I think he said 1,000 gold pieces.
For the horse?
Yeah. Nah, that's too much. 100. Yeah. I think
Okay. All right, Flick, please go find something to do before I throw you overboard.
Sure.
I don't want
The
to.
initiative again.
Yes, go do something. I don't care what you do. Just go.
Bye.
Bye.
Captain.
What?
Captain.
Yes, bye.
And
What?
on
What do you
that,
want?
The second chance continues on her voyage. Poor old Captain Salt left there desperately trying to figure out what's going on as things on his ship may or may not be going well for them. But unless anyone is doing anything specifically different, the ship is going to start to make its way into Saltmarsh. Is anyone doing anything that they really want to discuss?
I want to take a very long stick and start poking at the warforge at the front of the ship. Come on.
Right, you are.
Come on, lunchbox. Get off it. Come on.
All right, it's not difficult to get the body off of the prow of the ship, which you can do. It takes a little bit of time, obviously, but yes, eventually you do get Axa off. What are you doing with the large, now very, very inoperative Warforged?
Oh, well, it's not good eating. So I suppose with the dead body, I'll find a bit of the sheep, wrap them up.
Plenty
Basically.
of sails all over the place. Some slightly Pegasus chewed.
Yep, I'll take from that one because it's already Pegasus dude. And as he sort of wraps up Axa, he says, "Now look, you and I, we didn't really get to talk much, mostly because I thought you were part of the ship, and ships don't really talk. I'm sorry to find out that you were standing by the anchor. It wasn't my intention to ever impale you with the mast, but still." What a bloody shot, eh? And yeah, with that, I'll drag him off to where they're putting the corpses.
All right, not a problem. Anyone else doing anything specific? No. Moving. Yes, sir. Flick. Oh dear God. Yes, Flick.
Do the sailors, do the crew have belongings on the ships stored within the hold?
Yes, they do.
I'm going to very nonchalantly go and find Snick's pile or belongings.
Sure, it's not hard. It's the slightly smelly garbage pile next to his hammock that he ripped off of the walls and sort of made a little nest in the corner of the aft of the ship.
I push it out of a porthole.
This mess. You watch as this oil slick sort of pattern appears as whatever was in there sort of bubbles and slowly sinks down into the murky depths. And with that, the ship finally sails into the fog. It takes a good day before eventually you start to hear way in the distance the sound of harbour bells clanging and ringing, the corps of seagulls as they desperately soar around trying to find a scrap of food, and the wonderful aroma of slightly rotting meat that pervades across the entire city of Saltmarsh. And of course there is that tang in the air, that salty smell, far more intense here because of the salt marsh that gives this harbour its name. It is a large harbour. Let me give you an indicator of what it looks like here. It is a very large harbour that you sail into. Are you cutting yourself free of the first rate? The first rate is going straight for an area, the largest dock that is barely big enough for it to fit, as a matter of fact. But the first rate is coming in here, desperate to try and make landing. Are you cutting yourself free?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There is a slightly wonky pier, the one next to where the first race is going, that will put you alongside a tavern known as the Empty Net.
Yes.
Otherwise, there are other quays and docks all around that you can find berth at. The town is not particularly busy. There are sailing ships, mainly fishing ships, all moving in and out of the large harbour, or river mouth really, more than anything else, going about their daily business. As the first rate is sailing into the harbour, everybody stops what they're doing. There is disaster as some of the smaller ships actually collide with one another as their helmsmen are just watching this magnificently large ship, but that is significantly damaged, comes sailing in to harbour very slowly. Various bells on the ship busy being rung, alerting people on the ship as to the action. You can see the dockmaster who controls this particular dock looks absolutely flabbergasted. Hasn't got a clue how to even tie this thing up to the dock, let alone if the dock is going to stay in place or if the ship is just going to rip it free. A ship of this size has not come to Saltmarsh in easily 150 years. So they are mind blown. You can hear way off in the distance blowing as this massive horn, which you can see slightly on one of the buildings in the city itself, starts to sound out, clearly summoning the entire city to the docks to have a look at this first-rate ship. And then the second chance sort of dribbles past, hanging limply and flaccidly. No one pays you any attention whatsoever, other than, get out the way, you can't see the first-rate ship. And it's like, it's 5 stories high. It's higher than we are at the moment. We don't have a mast. Yeah, you come sort of limping into dock. No one notices that you are arriving at all. What is the charisma rating of your ship, by the way? Do you
don't
have
know.
that? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Never mind.
Yes, thank you.
We'll bring it up on the screen now. So let's
It's
do that.
slightly lower now than it was before.
Oh yes. So whatever's on the sheet, I haven't updated the sheet yet. So no, that doesn't have the charisma rating on it. I forgot. It doesn't have that. Let me bring it up. I've got it here. I swear I've got it here. He said, lying frantically creating it as he was busy going on. Second chance. It is called the second chance brig. Your charisma rating is 10 normally. So normally you're a fairly nondescript ship. However, at the moment you are suffering from a -8 penalty as you don't have a mast, which effectively makes you firewood, possibly damp firewood. Without that mast, you're looking at several thousand gold pieces of repair bills. So yeah, it's currently sitting at 2. People look at your ship going, you're lucky to be alive, either bloody brave to be on a wreck like that, or just incredibly stupid. And since it's a wreck, probably stupid. As you drift past, that is the few who even bother to look at the second chance as she limps into dock there.
Well, that suits me fine. Now we'll take the dock right next to the Empty Net. Sort of, since we got wounded and stuff, we probably want to be close to the first rate.
Right. Okay. So you pull into the first rate, well, the dock next to the first rate anyway. Let's see if I can do this quickly without whoa, there we go, broke the map completely. Thank goodness you didn't see that on the stream. I'm going to enlarge your ship slightly. So
Was it a ship slip?
So, it was a ship slip. So you can see at which dock you are in. That is not the size of your ship. That is not the size of your ship. It's so that you can see what's going on. I can't actually shrink it small enough in Fantasy Grounds to show you the size of your ship relative to the dock, but nonetheless, that's where you are currently moored. A rather belligerent-looking individual comes waddling up to you, and you can see that the dockmaster, they sort of look your ship up and down. I'm not sure whether to charge you a docking fee or a sinkage fee, really. Is she going to stay up? Because if she starts sinking, I don't want her clogging up my dock, all right?
Do you recognise this person?
Yes, this particular individual, you know him as Mad Jim. He's known as Mad Jim because when he was 12, which was about 40 years ago, he jumped from Leaper's Cliff on his own.
Mad Jim, indeed.
And missed. Apparently you have to be at the edge of the cliff in order to jump off it. He was about 3 foot in when he jumped, so all that happened was that he ended up hanging off of the edge of Leaper's Cliff and then sort of pulled himself back up again a little bit later on. But ever since, he's been known as Mad Jim. So there you are. He is he's sort of looking at the ship up and down. He does not recognise it. He doesn't recognise anybody on the ship. He's not particularly good with names. He sees thousands of people every day.
I sort of lean up over the railing and go, "Oh, Jim, been a while."
Hi. Looks at you. And let's see what he does as he sort of stares at you, Salt. Oh yeah, ages. How you doing? It's lovely to see you. Very nice. Yes, good.
Oh, he does not recognise me.
Right, dockish fees
No
4
idea
gold
what
a day, unless you want repairs.
We'll be wanting repairs, yes, but we probably need to be in dry dock for that. We'll make arrangements,
Yeah, we'll
but
make
she's going to stay up for now. Don't worry about it.
Right, you are.
Right.
The 4 gold, please.
Yeah, right.
How long are you planning on staying?
Well, depends on how fast the ship ride is, doesn't it?
So a couple months then, I reckon.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, 10 days up front, 40 gold.
40 gold? Are you bloody kidding me?
If I was kidding you, I'd say as Sir Haugen walks into a bar and says, "Hi, I'm a Sir Haugen."
I sort of wait until the landing board is torn down, and I sort of walk down and I sort of stand next to him and I loom over him. And I go, "I'm going to pay you for 3 days, and then we're going to settle the rest later, right? I mean, we know each other. We're old friends. We can settle this nicely, right?"
Give me an intimidate check. You know what? 3 days, I think, is a bit excessive. You look like a trustworthy crew, he says, sort of glancing around at you. Kinda. So why not just give me 1 day? I'll take the rest later on at your pleasure. Yeah?
We'll sort this out, all right? We're going to stay friends, you and I, aren't we? I sort of pat him on the shoulder a little too hard.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian.
Victor. I hand him the 4
I
gold.
was thinking of Brian, my cousin. Yeah, he's coming over for lunch later. Of course it's Victor, old Victor. It's Victor. Oh my god, it's Victor Salt! Right. Well, of course, sir. Absolutely. Dock's yours, sir. Take as long as you like. Did I say 4 gold a dock? I didn't mean 4. 4 would be for that ship over there, he says. For you, it's only 2 gold. Don't cut my head off.
I'm not here to cut your head off.
Right, you are. Actually, you know what? I'll pay for it myself. He says he pulls some gold coins out of his pocket. And 1, 2, there we go. See, put it into the kitty. It's all sorted. Don't you worry, Mr.
Thank
Soul.
you.
Thank
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You absolutely. Yes, there we are. There we are.
You can go now.
Absolutely, I'm going. Look at me, I'm running. Brian, time for lunch, he says as he rushes off of the dock as fast as he can. Jagsy, what are you doing while this is happening?
Obviously, once the gangplank's down and stuff like that, seeing the captain obviously doing his thing to the dock master that's right there, Jagsy sort of turns to to some of the crew and says, "All right, we need to start preparing this place for dry dock. We need to clear out all the debris right now and find out where the hell we can store it. Anything we can salvage, you get that below deck right now. And any of you complain about having to work or not wanting to get on shore leave straight away can come ask me directly or go talk to the captain. Move it!" Yes?
It's Archelius, the half-elf. You said if we wanted shore leave, we should come and talk to you directly. I want shore leave.
At this point,
The rest of the crew are like...
there is a very sudden splash as he is thrown overboard. And I'm gonna try and get as much distance on him as I
Give
can.
me a strength check.
Now, as a quick question, not that I, if I were to use my inspiration point to just I don't know, make him fly.
With a 12, you're getting a good distance anyway. You're getting at least 5
Okay.
foot over the side of the ship. So
Okay,
he
yeah,
clears
yeah,
it and he lands in the water. There's a loud splash. What do you do after that?
I look and see if there's anyone else want shore leave? That's what I thought. Now get to work, you mugs!
They start willing to work. Indigo?
Indigo comes up from below decks and comes up to Jaggerjaw and says, "Did someone just fall overboard?"
No, Luna. I'm sorry. No, Indigo. Sorry, getting people's names mixed up. We just had a little chat about someone who was feeling a little dry on deck. You know how that is. Skin gets a little peely and, so we're, making him feel more comfortable.
He went for a swim.
Ain't that right? I yell out over the dock.
Yes, absolutely.
Indigo goes over to the railing and says very earnestly, "Do not do that here in dock. The water is very bad. People pee in the water here all the time. It's disgusting."
Mermaids pee.
Yeah, but out on the open ocean. Not here where everything is stinky and hardly moving.
All I'm saying is if you see bubbles, don't breathe in.
Indigo, whilst you are busy talking to Jaggerjaw, there is a gust of wind, which, under normal circumstances, wouldn't even be out of place, except that you haven't felt a gust of wind for so long, having been in the doldrums. It does surprise you. What surprises you more is when that gust of wind blows several dry leaves in a little spiral directly in front of you. And the leaves coalesce to a certain degree into a vaguely humanoid shape, about 3 foot in height. Sort of leaves, 2 leaves become the eyes, a leaf sort of floats where the nose is. Still, while it's doing this rather beautiful ballet within this zephyr that has blown up. And you're the only one who hears this. Everyone else can see this swirl of leaves and things happening, but you're the only one who hears it, and the voice simply says, "When you're ready, I need to speak with you."
Where?
The leaves sort of scatter and start blowing off of the deck down onto the dock, and then sort of wait, vaguely coalesce back into a humanoid form. So one hand starts to then beckon.
What the shit?
Do not curse.
Sorry.
Hey, at least the wind's up again.
That's true. India?
The wind has asked me to follow. Is there anything else I should do before I can go? Everyone below deck is living, and they will keep doing so.
All right. Do you want to? Do you want to follow the wind? I mean,
Yes,
I'm
that's
not.
what I'm saying.
All right. You go follow the wind. Look, I'm gonna be taking the rest of these to the empty net. We might be in there if you're looking for us later.
Empty net.
That's the building right there.
That is a weird name for a building.
Yeah, the half-rotten one, with the roof that's coming in.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah.
You are going to be there.
Yes.
Then I will find you once my business is done.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Indigo, before you
Yes.
go.
I should ask you for shore leave. I kind of heard when I was below decks that you said if anyone needed shore leave, they should talk to you directly. So, Degatos, I would really like some shore leave.
Oh, that was more, Jagajaw sort of very awkwardly, especially for him with his big bulk, awkwardly makes his way to the galley and quickly asks Cookie for like a trail bag or like sort of a, just like, like some dried fish sticks and stuff like that.
You walk into my galley and you ask me for what? Says the gnome as he looks at you.
Yeah, sorry, Cookie. I just one of the officers is going out for a while. We don't know when she'll be back. I was hoping maybe she could get some food, if that's all
But
right.
of course you can get some food. What is this? I am here to provide food for everybody on board this ship. However, I am supposed to be given at least a half hour or more in order to prepare. I cannot just make sandwiches out of nothing. There is time, there's preparation, there is inspiration. I have to figure out what is the mood outside. How can I put together a sandwich if I don't know who is even going out onto the ship? Is it fish? Is it vegetarian? Is it vegan? There are so many questions which I have to have answered before I can make you a sandwich!
I sort of leave the galley at this point.
You walk away, fish boy! Walk! Keep walking! I want planning, I want preparation! My food does not just come from nowhere! There's a slam of the door.
I sort of look at my trail rations, which I'm just my emergency food,
Sure.
which is like pretty much just some raw fish at this point, just in a little bag, and I'll sort of go back over to Indigo and I'll say, the shore leave just for the deck crew here, and I sort of hand her the little bag of half-eaten fish, in case you don't get back before all the stuff, and much work to be done.
No, thank you. You're not going hungry because of this.
I'm always hungry, but no, that's fine. It's good. I'll pick something up when Captain takes us to the empty net.
Very well, thank you then. She reaches up and pets his blunt little shark nose.
No.
And then waves goodbye and just saunters off the ship without talking to anyone else.
Lahuna, you notice there is a group of soldiers marching towards the dock that you are currently moored to. They appear to have disembarked from the first rate. If you look over at the first rate, as a matter of fact, you can see that there are hundreds of soldiers busy disembarking. There's also, it looks like, a delegation coming from town busy frantically running, but trying not to run, but trying to get there on time as if they were expecting things. That's starting to assemble on the main road. But that first delegation seems to be coming directly towards the ship. What do you do?
I've been watching Victor because I tend to hang back and just double check that Victor's not going to garrote anyone in these kinds of circumstances. That's my job as the first mate. Keep the captain under control. He's my buddy. I love him, but he gets a little bit stabby sometimes. So when I see this, I walk down the gangplank essentially to block the bottleneck and make sure that Victor isn't the first person these people talk to. That would be bad.
There we go. All right. So as you get to the bottom of the deck, Flick, I assume you're running around on the ship somewhere. You do see this delegation arriving as well. It's very difficult to miss the Royal Navy in their blue and yellow uniforms as they come marching along. It's one rather trumped-up-looking officer of some descriptor, and then 6 Marines behind him. Flick, what are you doing? You see that Luna's getting ready to intercept.
How much time passed between us being, from me talking to the admiral person and us coming to Saltmarsh?
About a day and a half.
I'm going to try and make myself appear as small and insignificant and high, just very close by, not saying anything for the time being, just watching Luna and Victor. I'm also... Can I see where, was it Mad Jim?
Yeah.
The doctor? Can I see where he went?
It's very, very easy to see where Mad Jim went. He ran down the dock after his confrontation with Captain Salt, and then ran along the beach road as fast as he possibly could in the direction of the south.
It's just leaving town.
You can give me an insight check.
Called
Okay.
the Victor touch,
Oh, yes.
also known as victory.
Yo.
I'm going to start minusing the experience point. Link.
That would be punishing.
It's a penalty.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, he's busy running. He's a human. From your limited experience of interacting with humans, it looks like he's running like a naughty schoolboy with a secret to share. It's quite a unique look, really. Yeah, there's waddling, there's some sashaying in there, as well as a sort of a skip every third step.
I have the impression that if he followed this person, would he be able to catch up?
Oh, without a doubt. This is a very portly human being who is not accustomed to a speed faster than preambling down drunkenly. So, yeah, you could absolutely catch up with him.
Flick's gonna go find him and
Right,
follow
you
him.
are. Lahuna, you watch as this little blue dart of
Oh, wait,
scales...
wait, I'm gonna
Oh,
stealth it first. So I'm gonna try and be sneaky.
give me a stealth check. Yeah, Lahuna, your passive perception is higher than that, so you watch as this little blue dart disappears past you, trying to be sneaky. You can tell Flick's sneak often involves him pressing himself against barrels, skulking around the barrel. There we go. There is sneak happening. There is definitely sneak happening. Sadly, you see him. The delegation arrives and stops up short. The officer looks at you. He pulls off this very sharp salute of the Royal Navy. Greetings. I'm looking to speak to the captain of this vessel.
I was in the Aquamarines. That was my Marine course. So, do I recognize what kind of officer he is?
Yes, he is of lieutenant or lieutenant second class status. So he's not very high up in the ranking system, but he has
Either
some
way.
clout. You
I was a corporal.
technically would outrank him, yeah.
Lieutenant, the captain, you say? And why would you be seeking the captain?
I'm under orders from Admiral Tarquin to retrieve sailors and the Pegasus that was rescued. Your captain is the Seabold, named Captain Flick.
Well, not exactly, no. My captain is a singular gentleman, Captain Salt, ironically. Lovely, lovely man. And, but you don't need to speak to him. He's very, very busy with our, I turn behind me and look at the ship.
Ropes, mooring the ship, very busy. Not turned away from the soldiers, mooring the ship, very, very busy. Not talking to them.
But Tarquin, that name sounds familiar. I think we have somebody of that name in our hold.
If you are referring to Lieutenant Tarquin, then I can assure you that that will make the Admiral very happy. Is he still alive?
He's definitely making noises, so I should think so. And he stopped leaking. He's definitely stopped leaking. But any relation? Just curious.
Give me a persuasion check.
Excuse me.
You have that somewhere. It's there.
Clicking with the thing.
Clicking with the thing. With
Burn
that
the guys.
look of his, he kind of gives you a nod. He's the Admiral's son.
Oh, I should think he wants him back then, doesn't he?
I believe there was a deal struck with Captain Flick, although now I'm not so sure. There was a price to be paid, 50 gold pieces per sailor rescued and 100 gold pieces if the Pegasus has survived.
Oh, well, in that case... Yes, I do recall that deal. That's right. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Well, come aboard, Lieutenant. In fact, don't come aboard. You stay right here. Let me help by going to get them myself. Do not want this man on our ship, which
He
may
breathes-
sink if extra people go on it.
Yes, he breathed a sigh of relief because he was thinking exactly the same thing. It may just sink in the harbour, and that would be a very sad ending to my career, drowned in the harbour. All right, so you're going to go back on board to try and sort this whole thing out.
I'm going to go rally some crew to help bring the ones that belong to the First Chance back, and sort of carry them carefully in this kind of thing.
All right, absolutely. Not a problem. You start to disembark all of the injured individuals, slowly making sure that each of them is taken care of to a degree. The lieutenant sort of counts out the people. As you get to young Lieutenant Tarquin, he pauses for a moment. Tell me, this is just a question, and of course if it's too much of an imposition, that aquatic elf that was tending to me, I don't suppose she's round?
Well, she did go off somewhere. I can I can pass on a message.
Oh, no, I suppose it should probably a bother, really. Only
Come on! I put my hand around his shoulder. I know what he's talking about. I've swum with fish before. As I put my arm around his shoulder, my armor goes, mlem, mlem, mlem. That's going to lick him slightly. And there's this sort of manically smiling face of Lahuna going, I'm sure that she'd be interested. Why don't you make sure that I can pass a message back to her? What would you like to say?
He's trying to lean as far away from the weird tentacle armor stuff as he possibly can.
What? It's friendly. It likes you. Thinks you smell good.
I'm not entirely sure how to take that, first mate, but if you could just find out if perhaps she would one day perhaps care for a drink or something, that would be spiffing.
Of course I will.
Right, thank you. Can I take Daphne now? He says,
Daphne's
trying
the horse.
to disentangle himself from your grip.
Mlem,
Yes.
mlem. One solo tentacle sort of reaches out slightly further, and there's this tragic moment as it realizes that he doesn't want to be close to it anymore, and it goes back into the arm. Yes. The horse person is over there. You can take that as well. Doesn't look very seaworthy though.
No, Daphne's not particularly fond of the water. Find that a benefit usually, being airborne. Right, thank you.
Right.
He sort of disengages himself and practically runs to Daphne. Daphne kind of has this grin on her face. She sort of hobbles over to him, and there's this embrace that happens. Captain Salt, what are you doing while everyone's disembarking? You can see the wounded are being taken off the ship. There's a contingent of soldiers that you are desperately not engaging with.
I'm going to wait until all the soldiers are gone, and then I'm going to talk to Luna.
All right.
So
Luna,
does the
you are
witch capture.
paid the sum of 600 gold pieces.
Nice.
For the individuals that were rescued.
Oh yeah.
What are you saying, Salt?
Right. Did I hear something about payment?
Yeah. 600 shiny ones.
600 gold. That's a good start. Well done.
It's a new mast if ever I saw it.
Flick,
Oh, he went that way.
He ran off too?
Yeah, I called out. I tried to grab
Right,
it.
fine.
Slippery, that one.
You and Jags, come with me. I'm gonna go meet an old friend, and I want you to meet him.
Field trip! Where are we going?
One thing, Luna. At some point, while we're here, I might disappear for a while. Not entirely of my own will, and if I don't come back again, I want you to take the ship, and I want you to get her fixed, and I want you to get her out of here. And I want you to take care of the crew for me. Can you do that?
Yes, but...
Good. Let's go.
Victor.
No, let's go.
No,
Jax!
listen to me.
Jax, we're going.
I put
Captain,
my
you
arm
can't
down.
rightly expect me to leave the
Jags!
Kraken in here. They don't know their blowholes
Jags!
from their elbows.
Jax, get down here.
I do. Blowhole.
Shut up. Shut
Elbow.
up.
No.
Jags, come down here. I want you to meet this person. They can be fine without you for half an hour.
Aye, Captain. And I'll...
Besides, I think you need to eat something. Unless you eat someone.
No, we had that talk. We're not doing that anymore. It's bad for crew morale.
Look, I'm just saying, if we have dead people around, why not just let Jags? All right, fine. Let's just go.
As we walk off, I come close to Victor, and of course, my armor gets all excited again.
Oh, God.
Victor does not bathe as often as he should. Let's put it that way.
I bathe and just... Okay, fine. Yeah, no, you're right.
Just before we set off, I say, look, I didn't leave you behind last time, and I won't leave you behind this time.
I'm gonna need you to do that, because if I don't come back, I'm dead already, all right? And there's no point in coming for me. If I'm alive, if there is any chance of me coming back, I will. But if I don't, count me as dead.
We'll see. We'll see.
Just please don't get yourself and everyone else killed for this.
I smile.
Oh, God. Hell would preserve me.
You, Indigo, you're following this bank of clouds. This bank of leaves.
Oh, God.
As it busy blows its way along the streets and things. Are you going to follow it quite some distance? Because it's going
I'm
quite
following
distance.
pretty closely, happily munching on the raw fish.
Sure thing. I'm just going to bring you up here. So I
Yeah.
can-
Watching out where I step, because Indigo does not do shoes.
That's right. Yes, Indigo does not.
Saltmarsh is a shoes-on place, really.
Correct. Let's see if I can show that. All right, so that's Luna, and Luna, you're going to represent the entire grouping as you head off in that direction. We've got Indigo heading off in that direction, and we've got Flick heading off down here. We'll come back to you all as we need to. Why are you rotated? Oh, it's rotating everything. Oh, ship's still fine. You follow this leaf-blown hurricane of sorts, very contained, very small. Every now and again it passes a few things. As you're walking down this route here, you can see there's a market down to your south. There's people calling out, selling wares. Oh, come by, man, get your fish, get your fish, get your fish. As there's big trade going on, very active kind of environment. People don't really pay you any attention. Mostly this city is comprised of humans. That's what you can see anyway. Very few, occasionally you see some halflings, you see some gnomes, there's one or two elves wandering around. But there is that stale smell of a very old city, very, very old use of salt and of fish. It takes you a good 10 minutes to get to the bridge. Do you cross the bridge, which will take you across the river that leads into the Saltmarsh?
If the little typhoon does it, I'm going to cross the bridge.
Absolutely. It
The
does
boat
indeed.
and say hello.
I beg your pardon, you are?
I'm bowing to the river and I say, hello, water of the land. And then
There-
gingerly step across the bridge.
Yes, the wooden board separating you from the water. You notice that at this point the water is really starting to take on the murk of fresh water as it commingles with the drainage from the marsh itself. The little gust of wind takes you over a hill, past some fields, some very sad-looking plants, vegetables that are trying to grow, and you can see at the very top of the hill this large wood of sorts. Several very, very large, very windswept birch trees and beech trees grow in quite a dense little cluster. The little whirlwind again leads you into, or at least to the very base of the forest, and then it seems to just blow out in all different directions, leaving you quite alone. What do you do?
I'm folding the little sack in which I got my food from Jaggerjaw and put it away. And then I sit down near the water, looking at the trees, and simply wait while humming to myself.
Absolutely. Flick, you are busy following the portly dockmaster, and it's not long before he has come around the corner, so you now lose sight of the second chance. He gets to this dock that sticks out at the very bottom down here. Let me just reframe on that, actually. Let's come in there. He gets to this dock here, which juts out, and the adjacent dock, you can see there's a ship there. Similar to yours, a sloop, beautiful condition, beautifully maintained, pristine, absolutely pristine looking ship. She's rigged as a pleasure barge, nothing more than that. It doesn't look like she has any armaments on her, just very, very pretty. But you do see Mad Jim arriving at his dock, and he stops and he chats to this very large half-orc. How close are you going to try and get to them?
So as I've been walking behind Mad Jim, I've been sort of doing this up against walls, but at the same time sort of picking things up off the floor and doing this. Just doing this, and like if there's like little items on the floor, I've just been like throwing them over my shoulders like this.
It's detritus, dead seaweed, bits of old fish, muck, high tide, flotsam and jetsam. Yeah, you certainly. There are street kids who walk past and they give you money, because you look so degenerate and pathetically sad. So that's what you achieve. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm gonna assume a persona. I'm going. Flick is going to become an old Seabold who's.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, little seashell. Oh, little seashell. Yes, lovely, lovely. Bit of seaweed. Yes, for dinner tonight.
Lovely. Give me a performance check, if you please.
I'm going to be keeping an eye on him at the same time and trying to get us closer and just a little bit closer and closer every time.
Right, got you.
Please roll really high. Oh,
Look
it's
at
good.
Look at that. So the dockmaster, he does not notice you at all. He's completely oblivious. The half-orc does not notice you because you're this disgusting little seabold wash-up thing. Yeah, so you get right next to them, and the conversation that you hear is very, very... Well, it's hushed, but... I'm telling you, it's Victor's soul in the flesh. He's not dead. He's back. And on the second chance as well. You better tell Gellin. I mean, there's going to be hell to pay. But it didn't come from me. I didn't see it, right? Because I'm not going to try and arrest Victor Salt. So you better send the boys down to the docks. Right? The half-orc looks at him.
If it isn't Salt, you know that Gellin will just have you by the short and curlies, right? I mean, Gellin truly wants Salt back.
Don't look at me. I'm just telling you what I saw. It was Salt on that ship as I live and breathe. May Reft curse my soul. May Halver sink my ships. It was Salt. That's what you hear. The half-orc nods, and then he starts heading into this larger structure, the larger house. Very ostentatious-looking house. As he leaves, Mad Jim kind of looks around. Right. And then he starts walking slowly back towards the dock. Victor, you, Lahuna, and Jagsy are disembarking the ship. From the distance, as you're walking towards the empty nest, you hear from the ship, "I've met the sandwich and now they're gone! What was I wasting my time for?"
Faster.
Is
We're
all
going
you
now.
hear echoing from the bay.
Victor just speeds up.
Right, you are.
Nope.
Just a big bag of nope.
I'm not dealing with that ship. He scares me. It's so scary.
The cook that scares Victor Salt.
This
We
cook
gotta
that
watch
scares
that
Victor
chef.
Salt. That's interesting. Right,
It's like-
you are making your way up to the
Empty net.
empty nets. Absolutely,
Yes.
not a problem at all. You are walking over to the empty nest. It's quite easy. Everyone's still focused on that first rate, which is still disembarking as many people as they possibly can, desperate to basically make landfall, and people are just wanting to see this magnificent vessel, this absolutely beautiful ship, which has arrived in dock and is something to be seen, even in its damaged state. So you arrive.
It's big, but size isn't everything, you know.
Yes, it is, darling. When it's a ship like that, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's just beautiful.
Well, I'd say having a mast counts as well. So we're not exactly in a good position right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Either way.
Well, we're in a position, we're just not moving from it. I mean,
No, fine.
Look, the second chance is fine. She just needs a little bit of work, that's all.
I'm just
fixer
worried
upper.
about actually getting work right now. People knowing we came in on that thing.
well, do you know what? Money is money, and we have some, and we need work done. Money speaks all languages.
Yeah, we have 600 gold. That's nothing. It'll be 10 times that to fix the ship.
Well, look, maybe we can find something in Saltmarsh, all right? Like, this place is
Maybe-
smartened up since I was last here.
Well,
Doesn't smell better, but it's smarter.
no, true. Maybe we can sink that first rate and rescue all the sailors again. That was good money.
You arrive at the empty net, this large stone and wood construction. It does seem to have improved itself slightly. The roof is no longer sagging in. It looks as if he's added a third floor, or at least a second
wow.
floor to the structure. A bit of paint work's been done on the outside, and you walk in.
Yep.
All right.
Gentrification.
As you walk in, you see this large space. You knew it as this very dark and overcrowded, disgustingly smelling place. But as a matter of fact, it's... I'm going to share it with you now. It's a lively, happening place. There is a bard who is resting up next to the great famous anchor that sits in the far corner of the room. The bard is busy strumming out a few chords that are currently popular in the tavern and in the capital of the kingdom as well. Just soft background kind of elevator nonsense that's happening. The tavern itself is rather full. There's a collection of individuals that you can see. There's some orcs in the corner busy chatting away with some very well-dressed individual. There are lots of little goblins running around, getting drinks and things, and a few other patrons hanging about. The large, burly form of Kreb, however, is standing there with his mouth wide open.
Kreb.
Get you a fake mustache.
No, it's fine. Kreb.
I don't believe it.
Is that a happy face or an angry face? I
It's
can't
Krabby
tell.
Moo.
Well, obviously it's a happy face. I mean, Salt, I haven't seen you in I don't know how long. We thought you were dead.
Really? Well,
Well, you just disappeared.
yeah, well, I left.
Wait. Come in. Ladies and gentlemen, the tavern is closed now. Please vacate.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
No,
you don't have to do
It's not every day that a ghost walks in here and just says, "Hi, I'm alive." It's Victor Salt is here. We must make this a special occasion. Maureen! He shouts as he calls for his wife from the kitchens. The goblins kind of all jump up and sort of scurry past you as best they can to try and get past. Jagsy, you let them?
I just sort of snarl at them menacingly as they walk past. I'm under strict instruction to avoid eating people spontaneously, which I'm trying to observe.
Had that talk.
Are there any particularly juicy ones though?
Of the goblins? No, the goblins are all a little bit stringy. They're wearing quite heavy armor, as a matter of fact.
No, that's fine. Too much work for little meat.
Yeah.
Pass.
All right. So you.
It's like one of those sushi trains for him. He's like sort of like no, not fresh.
Don't want to peel them.
Yep.
Right, you are. They all vacate past you as they file out. Kreb starts to pour out some shots, which he places on the bar. Do you accept them?
Yes, and I sort of shake his hand over the bar. I go, "This is Luna, my first mate. This is Jaggerjaw, my bosun. This is Kreb, an old friend."
Stepping out of the kitchen doorway is this very rotund but very healthy-looking woman. She screams and just buries you in a bosom hug of note as she holds on tight. I haven't seen you in so long. We thought you were dead, man. Grab it, Salt.
Okay. Easy bit on the hugs. Okay, I'm good.
She is absolutely... I'm going to go and make your favourite. You are staying for quite some time now. I mean, now that you've settled all the debts, you're okay, eh?
Oh. How do you know about that?
There's a look between Maureen and Kreb.
What?
You do know what happened with your debt, Salt. I mean, you have paid it off.
Wait, whoa. Start from the beginning. I mean, I owe a debt, but not here, right?
We all thought that you left because of what happened.
What happened?
You mean you haven't paid back your debt yet?
Kreb, please!
Gelen bought your debt.
Oh, goodness.
You didn't know.
No, I did not know. Are you telling me I owe Galen Prime Water 8,000 gold pieces?
Maureen places. Why didn't you sit down? Because I think you haven't paid him back and it's not 8,000 anymore, darling.
What? Just tell me.
When you left, without telling anyone where you were going,
yes,
Gelen thought you'd skipped out on him.
Uh-huh. I mean, I did.
Yeah, and so you know what then happens to... he looks at you, Jagsy, and he looks at you, Lahuna. What are the two of you doing while this is going on?
I'm counting on my fingers, very obviously.
Yes.
A very worried look on Lahuna's face.
Noticing that no one's touching any of the drinks that he's put out, Jagsy quite not subtly sort of takes his glass a shot and just drops it into his mouth and crunches it like a candy.
The whole glass.
Ow. And if Victor and Lahuna don't take theirs, he'll also kind of put his hand across
go
it.
ahead. Victor's busy. Victor has gone pale as a sheet right now.
And Lahuna's counting sailors.
How many sailors you need to rescue to raise?
Throw in some Pegasi.
Yes. Right. Look, Kreb, please just tell me from the start what happened when I left.
All right. Once you left, Gelen thought that you had run off. So he put a bounty on your head. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have seen that coming, in retrospect.
Maybe if we just explain. I mean,
No, he's not that type. Alright, then what?
No, that's the whole story. You disappeared,
That's the whole
he sent
story,
some ship after you, they didn't find you, he thought you were either dead or never coming back. Now that you're back, I assume you have a plan. I mean...
Look, I owed a lot of money to people in other cities around the Azure Sea. So I thought I'll drop in, get some goods, get out again, because I didn't think the debtors would follow me here. And it turns out that they are here.
Indigo,
All right.
there is a little breeze, and suddenly sitting next to you is this very messy-looking young... Well, it's difficult to tell, really. Could be young, could be very old. You're not entirely sure. Halfling. And their feet are busy paddling in the water as they are sitting smiling, looking at you. Dressed mainly in leaves.
I lean over and sniff.
The halfling looks up and sniffs back.
You smell of the land.
Ah, and you smell of the sea.
As I should.
As should I. I'm glad that you decided to come and pay me a little visit. It's not
Why did you
often
call
that
me?
we get someone of your kind coming up from the deep.
Yes, we do not like these shores.
Aye,
It
but
is. It is a feeling of impropriety when the sea and the land cannot decide where exactly each other ends.
oh, you're talking about the lagoon and the river mouth. I agree completely. It's a very interesting biome. It's not why I called you here, though. My name's Farron, by the way. Pleased to meet you. You'll forgive me. I'm not particularly aligned with aquatic elf protocol. Do we bow, hug, wave?
No, since we usually meet on or under the water, we do not bow because it does not make sense.
Oh,
in the
right, of course.
of the ship.
There's no up or down. Right, yes. So, I look after the Grove of Helva here in Saltmarsh, and I was watching the ships coming in this morning when I saw yours, and I was hoping that there might be someone of your kind aboard, and when you responded, well, then obviously you are. You must be, I'm hoping, a druid.
Oh yes, I have taken to the calling of the moon and the sea.
Ah, that's brilliant. I was hoping you could help me. There's a little matter which I have found, and I don't know what it means. And I don't want to go to the Oakkin and chat without knowing exactly what's going on first.
Tell
would
me
you mind?
about. No, I do not mind. No, of course not. Anything to keep the balance.
Aye, well, that's the interesting thing. I don't think that the balance is currently happening. But have you noticed some problems in the waters around your territory recently?
I come very close to him. Say, yes, something is coming up from the deep. Very black hunger, and it's bringing back things that should be dead.
That would explain the strange thing that I've been seeing, he says, leaning in almost nose to nose.
We have a very intense druid moment. What have you noticed on land? I do not know what this would look like on land. You do not have depths. Or do you?
There's mountains, I suppose, deep.
But no, they're high. Do we talk about the same thing? Just tell me.
It's easier if I show you. Come with me into the grove. Easier if I show you.
I look up at the trees and then very slowly step towards the grove.
They don't bite.
Very gingerly.
Well, not in the way you think.
They're usually slow, right?
I really must go into this underwater space. It sounds much more interesting than up here. All they do here is grow and complain. Grow and complain, trust me. That's all they do, is complain, really.
You haven't really complained yet. But show me.
I'm not a tree.
Oh, right. You look like one. A small one.
I'll take that as a compliment, he says as
It
the
was
two
meant as one, yes.
disappear into the forest. Flick.
Flick hasn't been to Saltmarsh before,
Right.
so he doesn't really know much about where he's going.
Sure thing.
But he's going to start wandering around.
Okay.
He's going to be looking for something. He's going to look for two things. He's going to be looking for something flammable. And he's going to look for something a little bit like perfume.
Something flammable and something a little like perfume. Right. you
Yeah,
are.
so something like a pitch barrel or, an oil lamp, something like that.
Oh, God.
And then something that smells nice that you can sort of put on him.
After having just covered yourself in the flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah.
Right. Give me an investigate check, please, as you start wandering around this area of Saltmarsh.
I feel personally victimized.
Really big and smells. Oh, no, that's me. Okay. Damn it.
Yeah, you're wandering. The only thing that catches your attention as you are making your way down, you heard a market busy going with people selling all kinds of weird and wonderful things. But as you are wandering around, something catches your eye. Well, two things really catch your eye. The first is you come around a corner. I want you to please give me a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh.
Sure. I think it's that.
Okay.
How does Flick react when you come around the corner and the undead lich that was riding the Kraken is standing there looking at you?
What?
Wow.
Is there a little bit of urine, perhaps? No, just
No. What?
I cast Detect Magic.
as you're about to cast Detect Magic, you realise that it isn't actually the undead lich standing there directly in front of you. It is a statue of an individual who looks like the undead lich, only not so undeadish, really, more human. And it has a large red ribbon tied around it. And there are several sort of workers nearby that are busy sort of clearing away bits of dust and the like.
I don't realise this. I still cast Detect Magic.
Alright, you cast Detect Magic. The entire statue glows with magic. Vast amounts of transmutation magic have been used on this particular statue. Then there's a large tank behind the statue from your perspective that also glows, but that tank is filled with water and a rather large and very angry looking giant octopus.
What colour is the octopus?
I beg your pardon?
What colour is the octopus?
The octopus is a very dull, dark, almost grey kind of colour. It's not happy.
Well, he doesn't look happy. Okay.
I go up to the statue, and I see if there's like a plaque of some kind.
There is. It's behind a curtain. I would awfully rather that you didn't do that, says a voice from behind you.
Who said that?
I did. Says this sort of youngish-looking human, dressed rather well. Very foppish side hat with a feather in it. He's got quite a solid silver brooch on his braided cape, and he looks at you. I paid for it, so rather you didn't.
That doesn't mean you own it.
Yes, it does actually. That's how commerce works. You funny, cute little ball of muck. You.
Are you sure that's how it works?
Yes, pretty sure. Paid for it, own it. It's kind of how it works. I haven't given it to the city yet. No, that's why it's got the plaque, you see. Because I'm going to be giving it to the city this afternoon.
How much is it worth?
Well, you know how you're really small and covered in grime?
Yes.
And not worth very much. The statue is not very small, it's not covered in grime, and was imported, as a matter of fact, at great expense. So it's worth quite a lot, really. So I think you should possibly move along. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get hold of Ellie and just see if we can make you go away, because you're sort of lowering the tone.
How did you make it?
I didn't. I paid people lots of money to do it. That's how
How
it
did
works.
they make it?
What?
How did they make it?
I don't care. It's an exact replica, and yes, you can just move along now.
Well, if you continue to be rude, I will just cast a fireball on it and blow it up.
Oh, I see. You can cast magic, can you? You've got a little wand and everything, do you? Yeah.
No.
Right, you are. You just wait one. Skellen. Yeah. Just getting a friend over. He's going to help you solve. He knows who made it. He's my assistant.
Oh, I have a question. What's that?
And he points to something behind him.
He points at something behind him. Is Anders... Is he... Does he... Would he... I'm going to give him disadvantage because he's quite stressed at the moment.
Oh,
He looks
I
behind
run
him.
away.
You run away from
Through the market.
That causes a ruffle, as the market has never smelt something that bad come charging through it.
Hello. Ah!
Yes, there is general chaos as people are looking at whatever this... Is it a rat? No, I thought it was blue. Blue? That wasn't blue. That was as black as the muck that you get at the bottom of the harbour, that was. As you charge your way through. Back to the three of you.
I was looking for originally.
Yeah. You can stop if you like.
Yeah, I screamed for a stop.
There are now 4 very large city guard thundering after
no.
you. Stop that thing! I don't know what it is.
Run off again.
Yes.
Alright, you are running around. Back to the empty nest.
Okay.
Victor, I don't think you understand. You owe Gillen Primewater 18,000 gold now.
18.
Well, there was the debt which he bought for 8, and then the bounty, and then he sent ships to try and find you. You don't think Gillen is going to do all of that out of the kindness of his heart?
The bounty, I mean, was 10,000 gold.
No. No.
Yeah, I thought so. That's a bit much even for me.
Hiring the ships was expensive because he sent them
that's
out
fair.
for quite some time to find you. Yeah.
Look,
Now, I don't want to sound as if I'm being ungracious here, It's very nice to see you, Victor. If you don't have the money, I suggest you leave Saltmarsh right now.
I can't. My ship's a mess. I couldn't even if I wanted to. Look, I knew this was possibly going to be the death of me, but, you know, we were close for a long time. Maybe I could talk to him.
He looks at you, Jags. I mean, we could put your boy here in a fight, but he's going to have to win like 100 matches in a row to try and make back that kind of money.
I don't know. What do you think, Jags?
You're muted at the moment?
Do I get to keep him after I finish?
No, I don't think so. They're not usually to the death, Jags. They're just you fight someone, and then if you beat them down.
Well,
Look, crap, here. This is 15 gold. This is all I have right now. I've got a crew. I've got these two. Could you put them up? Room, maybe meal a day for a while, and I'll owe you the rest. I just need somewhere for these people to sleep.
Oh, don't be so pessimistic. I mean, look, we can make 18,000 gold, right? I look at Krebs with a smile.
You're very pretty, but I don't think you're worth that much, to be honest with you. I mean, we can put you out there, but
Krebs, come. No, this is my first mate, Krebs. Krebs, this is my first mate. Don't talk to her like that.
Lahuna doesn't really understand what's going on because she's quite naive, but
Okay, look,
yeah,
I'm not
fine.
saying Salt, you owe a lot of money to Gellin, and
Yeah.
you want to now have just free board and lodging here as well.
Free, I just gave you 15 gold.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I mean, I know it won't last too long, but
You're not going to last too long, Salt.
no, that's what I'm saying. Look,
Did
all
anyone
I'm
see
trying.
you come in here?
Yeah, Mad Jim did.
Oh my.
Yeah, Gellin probably knows now.
Probably. Yeah, he probably knows that you're here. He's probably on his way over. Right now, he's going to come in and say, "Hey, Captain Salt, how you doing? I'm glad you're not dead. Now you can pay me back 18,000 gold pieces."
Look, when I left, I told Gellin that I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. If he sent ships after me, that's on him, not me.
Oh, yeah. Well, once you explain that to my sure, you say, "Oh, yeah, sure, no, fine, absolutely, not a problem."
All I'm trying to do is to make sure that my people have somewhere to sleep and somewhere to eat after I'm dead, all right? Could you do that? Could you feed a Shah Khan? I mean, I know 15 gold won't last long for him, but...
Captain,
we
how
did
come
that
you
same-
don't just eat this prime water fella? I mean, the Shakan have a saying, Topoa naha watana ini, which basically translates to, you are who you eat. So if you eat this fella, you get his debt and it's all cleared.
Look, I can try. No guarantees. It's a good thought. Good thinking, Jax. Thank you.
You're going to try and take on Prime Water.
No, I'm not going to take on bloody Prime Water. I'm not stupid.
He looks from you,
I'm not-
he looks to Jags, he looks back at you.
Just humor him. It's the best thing. Just humor him and feed him.
All right. I suppose... Oh, Salt, you ask too much sometimes, eh? Yes. All right, we'll put you in the tower. No one goes there. We had some Saugen in there, but they were cleared out.
Tower.
It's dry. No one is likely to see you.
Look, I'm betting my business as Prime Water is going to be over one way or another in about an hour. All I'm asking is for you to put up my crew.
Yeah, it's fine, Salt. For old time's sake, absolutely. But if Gellin asks you, I did not know that you were alive, eh? He
No,
will burn
you
this
didn't.
place down if he realizes.
You didn't know that I was alive.
I didn't. I know that, but you have to tell him that too. Just reinforce it.
Yeah. I'll tell him.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Look, no one else is going down with this.
Hey, listen. Do you still have that little gnomish chef thing on your ship? You know the shouty loud one?
Yeah, that one.
Tell you what, if he works in the kitchens with Maureen here for a while, I'll cover whatever costs you might have in terms of accommodation here.
Jags, you're closer to the chef than I am. What do you think? Do you think you can suggest it to him?
Sure. It just depends on if lovely Maureen here is willing to share it with the rather overbearing and terrifying chef.
He can be a lot.
Maureen rolls up her sleeves. Sorry, Lahuna, you were saying?
I said, if you give him control, he'll be fine. Otherwise, you're in for a chopstick battle.
Maureen looks at you. There isn't a man who's been in my kitchen before who has any power whatsoever. Whatever he is, bring him. I will cook him like a plum.
I lean over to Victor and say, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, sure. A lot of fun. You don't think I could borrow Maureen and take her over when I see prime water, do you think?
There's general laughter. It's the kind of laughter of, we're laughing because that's funny, but we're also laughing because
we're all gonna die.
We're probably all gonna die.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
oh yes.
Absolutely. Indigo, back on top of the hill, the halfling leads you through various trees and things. All the branches bow and move out of the way as you walk forward.
I keep an eye on them. I don't trust
You
those.
Convinced they're keeping an eye on you too.
That's fine. They don't have to trust me either.
I noticed this about 3 days ago. It started to form. Not sure if you've seen it. You get to a little rise which looks out over the entire expanse of Saltmarsh, and you can see the city laid out before you. It's grey stone buildings with their sort of very grey roofs looking down on you. Or you looking down on them, I should say. And then you can see the bay beyond and the fog bank. It does look as if it's about half a mile out to sea and sitting there permanently. Now, I'm not one to dabble with the ocean. I know it's got its moods. But that fog's been there for 3 days. And that means something's up. It should have cleared by now. So, I thought to myself, well, perhaps there's some kind of malevolence involved. Perhaps something's going on. We know the Sahaugen are always up to something. Perhaps it's something along those lines. So I went and I thought about it for a little while. And then I discovered that, well, have a gander for yourself. And he pulls out of this furry pouch a very large scapula, the shoulder blade of a creature. But the outer edge is opaque. You can't see through it. The inside of the scapula, the actual blade part of it, that is almost transparent. And he holds it up to his eye, and he looks out. It's very dark, very, very dark. And he hands it over to you. Have a look for yourself.
Take it very carefully with the tips of my fingers and look through it at the bank of mist.
As you do, you look out over the bay, and the Azure Sea is usually called the Azure Sea for a reason. The tropical blue waters extend in all directions up to the fog, of course. However, there is something that looks very wrong. There's a strip. It's a half arc coming out of the fog, extending to within maybe 100 yards of the quay and the docks alongside the harbour. And then it arcs back into the fog of this black water. Absolutely black. And it's bubbling, and every now and again it looks as if you can see hands reaching out of its skeletal hands as this tide, and then this large, definitely dead, rotting whale bursts out of the surface of this black tide and then disappears back into it again. It looks like it's made out of dead creatures. The moment you take the glass away, it resorts back to calm sea.
I hunker down so I'm on the level of the halfling. I think this might be similar to what we saw out in the depths. They called it the Black Tide. Something rotten and dead is in the water. Have you looked at where it comes close to land?
To be perfectly honest, I generally don't go down to the docks if I can help it. We can go down. I thought together might be safer. 2 druids together, you know, is one tree is stronger than 2 little twigs.
Is it? I will agree. Yes. Whatever you say with your wood similes, but yes, we should take a look at that. Do you know what is out there where the fog sits? Are there any shallows or?
Well, I was kind of hoping that you might know, since you come from that part of the world.
I do not come from that part of the world. I come from very beautiful seas.
Right. Well, the sea's not so beautiful at the moment, so perhaps. But my experience is talking to foxes and badgers and weasels and occasionally a frog.
I know frogs.
Oh, you do?
I do not know what the other things are you were talking about.
Oh, well, that's not important right now. So you agree it's probably not natural?
No, it is definitely not natural. Whatever that is out there, it's something evil. Something I think that is hungry.
Right.
And yes, we need to put it right. I absolutely agree.
Now have a wee look-see over there, he says as he points to the marketplace, which currently seems to be an uproar. There's tents busy collapsing, there's guards running through it, there's some screaming coming from somewhere down there. No, just a little bit higher up. You see at the town hall, you see that giant statue? There's a very large. You recognize it as the undead who was riding the Kraken. Absolutely. It's also emanating black waves of smoke from itself.
Why would you put that in a place where people live?
It only got there this morning. It's new.
Who did this? Do you know?
No, I don't really invest myself in the affairs of what happens down in Saltmarsh itself.
Well, come, we will invest ourselves in the affairs.
It's not the only statue that looks like that. There's another one on the hill.
Someone is putting up evil statues.
Aye, I suppose you could say it like that.
Do you know which human this statue is supposed to resemble?
It looks in a way a little bit like Anders Solmore. He's one of the bigwigs who... Well, he's not really a bigwig. His parents were. He's inherited from them, from what I understand. Does kind of resemble him, but only if you squint your eyes in the middle of the night.
Did his father maybe die out on the sea?
It was a rather tragic warehouse fire, as a matter of fact.
Weird. I could have sworn I saw his corpse just a few days ago.
You saw a corpse?
Yes, it was riding a hunger from the deep that had been reanimated. Oh, you would call it a... What is the word? Kraken.
He was riding a kraken?
A dead kraken, yes. Well now, here, take your looking bone.
You know what? I think you know more about this than I do. This is above my grove grade, so I think you should you keep the bone. It'll probably help you more than me, since technically my field of operations ends at the high tide mark. Yours, I would assume, picks up from there, so it's really your problem. I think Yeah, I got 0. I deal with frogs and snake bites. That's my thing. Undead krakens.
Are you a coward?
I have herded cows in the past. Yes, I have been a cowherd. I have been a swineherd too, and I'm not embarrassed by that fact.
Oh my pronunciation. This language is so weird. No, someone who lacks moral strength.
Oh yes, I don't have any of that at all.
And it is fine. That this is not your calling. That is true.
Oh, so you accept then that you're going to look into it on behalf of the druids?
I will, yes.
Oh,
On behalf of the
wonderful.
Bellings.
Great. Oh, that's such a relief. I was so happy when you arrived in the docks this morning. I was sitting here thinking I might have to do something. Oh, what a relief. Okay, great, good stuff. Hope you win. I'll let me know of the outcome because now you've got the.
I think you will know how it ends.
Sure. Right. Absolutely. Big ocean. Yes. Great.
You take care of these trees.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. They'll be perfectly fine. Yes. Good. So you're going now?
Thank you. May the gods bless your path and may nature smile upon you. I will go back into the town.
Absolutely. May the birds guide your path and may the bears always be grizzly.
Bears! I heard about bears. I want to see one day.
Oh, there's a nightclub down in town. Anyway, right, so Flick, you are in running mode.
Yeah, panic mode.
Where are you going?
Who's chasing me?
It's difficult to tell. When the first cart got knocked over, that cartier decided that it was definitely your fault. Unfortunately, having a pegged leg caused a guy rope to be pulled loose, and the fishmonger blamed the cartier. The fishmonger was chasing the cartier. The cartier is chasing you. The guards are chasing you. The guards, unfortunately, also knocked over a fresh fruit vendor. The fresh fruit vendor is now chasing the guards, demanding that they pay for the lost produce and income.
Was it cabbages?
It was cabbages, actually. It definitely was cabbages, without a doubt. It was cabbages. Yes, so there is general chaos and pandemonium. Are you heading up onto high ground, or are you heading to this large ancient bridge, which looks as if it's got great sharks carved into the side of it?
Ooh.
It does cross over into what looks to be the mainland of some sorts.
Looking for an alleyway.
Oh, there's plenty of little alleyways.
Excellent. I want to just... When I'm quite certain that nobody's quite sure where I'm going, I'm going to dive into an alleyway and try and hide as a, like, just a...
All right. Give me a stealth check. Actually, first of all, give me an initiative check, if you please.
Oh,
I didn't know kobolds were opossums.
Yes. The guards are very slow. There's lots of tangled shouting and screaming going on. All right, now you can give me a stealth check as you very nimbly duck into that. You very nimbly duck into that alleyway. Yes.
Don't die.
Sadly, there's a problem. The alleyway is not so much of an alleyway as a thoroughfare, and so you run into this thoroughfare, throw yourself down, and realize that there are about 20 hawkers and vendors all busy watching you, and then they're watching the guards come running. As the guards are running up, all 20 of them just point at you.
Damn! Okay.
You could run, but the guards now seem to be getting much more militant than they were before. 2 of them have got spears, which they're now starting to get ready to lob at you.
Look at that.
Oh,
The guard... You what?
I give up.
Are you sure? Don't you want to just carry on running?
Well, I thought about it. Decided not to. I give up. You got me. I'm a criminal.
Oh.
James! Take me away!
No, seriously, you should just carry on running. That way we can just throw spears at you until you die. It's a lot easier.
No! No! I've made my mind up! I confess! I confess!
To what?
I am a bad man! I'm not really a man.
No, not really.
You're a man.
Yes, of course I am.
You a nice man?
This is not the usual discourse that guards go through with prisoners. This one, however, seems to be particularly astute, and he looks down at you and he goes, "All right, you're under arrest then. For running."
No, I don't want to run. My legs are tired.
All right, come along then. We'll have to take you to the clink.
Where are we going?
We're going to take you to jail, aren't we? We're going to put you in jail, and then you're going to see the magistrate tomorrow, and then they'll probably sentence you to death.
Why death?
Well, because...
Why not cake?
And on that note, we come to the end of today's session. Oh my god. I don't know what to do sometimes. I had a plan. I had a plan.
Oh no.
Best cliffhanger ever, by the way. I think that's number
Death
Cake
or
or
cake.
death.
There we go. You
What?
can clip that.
Cake or death? Cake or
Cake or
death?
death?
I'm going to throw some love out to our sponsors very quickly. We've got Dungeon Fog, who supplied us with all of the maps, and you saw some of those in action today. Not a lot, because there was just lots of running and screaming, actually. Dungeon Fog, thank you for those maps. Then World Anvil, you can find out all the info you like about your heroes. Go and have a look at that. Mods, hopefully they'll throw it into chat. All of our characters there, you can track their exploits and the like, have a look at their fan art and that sort of thing. We are running a competition, if you have not noticed, down at the bottom there's a clue. Oops, down that way there's a clue for you to have a look at the map if you don't know what I'm talking about. www.greatgamemaster.com. And finally, to our last sponsor, Fantasy Grounds. They sponsor the virtual tabletop of choice that we are using. It's awesome. You saw the rolls going everywhere and anywhere and managing all those wonderful maps that we got from Dungeon Fog. So until next time, thank you all for watching. Thank you to my wonderful cast, and we will see you all again next week. Remember, we do switch over to Great GM. That's twitch.tv Great GM now for the Below Decks, where we unpack today's episode with our cast members. So join us for that if you don't join the next D&D stream. Till then, thanks for watching. Goodbye.